lives on tape. It lives on tape. Stop worrying.
Not once have you heard me.
It lives on tape. Tape.
Another technological disaster.
It lives. It lives. It lives on tape. Look out! That slithering death is right on you!
There we go. We are live. Welcome everyone to the first ever episode, the inaugural episode of It Lives on Tape. I'm here with my good friend Tanner. How you going today?
G'day, really good. Very excited. Very excited to kick this podcast off it's not quite our inaugural episode. I'd have to look up exactly what that word means. But this is like a session 0, if you will. It's the pre-read to the real podcast.
Exactly, yeah. I'm actually not
Yes.
sure what inaugural means either, so good job in catching me on that one. This is basically...
I'm so sorry.
That's all right. Inaugural, that means something to do with first or introductory in my head. But yeah,
Surely.
this is like an introductory episode about It Lives on Tape, our new horror movie podcast that we're going to be putting out into the world. And as you said, you're very excited. And you even said to me the other day, no one is as excited as you are for this.
Yes. I'm yet to find someone as excited. Well, actually, you. I would hope is as excited as I am, but not more excited.
Yes. Okay, I like that.
The same amount of excitement.
Yeah, we're shared excitement, but also I think because of my general anxiety, I also have quite a bit of nervousness as well as excitement. Because it's been a long time since I've done a podcast, but I love podcasts, so I am very, very excited for this.
And I've never done a podcast, so I have perhaps an error of naivety that I'm going to try pass off as confidence, and we'll see how that goes.
I like that. I like that. So first ever podcast. That's pretty cool. That's exciting. Well,
Yeah, I've not even seen a podcast before.
oh my God. You don't even know what a podcast is. I had to explain it to you beforehand.
Is it something that you invented?
Yeah. It's like radio.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I know about radio. So,
Yeah. Well, this is what our podcast is. And you go by Grumbly Ghost online. You do a lot of live streaming on your Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Grumbly Ghost. And you can also find me. My name's Torkel, but I go by Polyverse online. You can catch me at Twitch and YouTube at the Polyverse tag as well. And yeah, we're combining our powers to form a horror movie podcast. And yeah, should we talk about how this idea came about, I guess?
yeah, absolutely. So, I guess back in the day when we were kids growing up, we knew of each other and were like brief and fleeting friends, I'd say. Tell me if that's unfair. I think
yeah, I've got this long ago memory of going to your house once. I have no idea how old I was. We were very, very young. And I think our parents were friends or something like that. So that was the connection. And yeah, I just remember hanging out that one time. And I think you already had a friend over, so I just sort of joined in on the fun. And it's like racking my brain, but there was this particular popular toy that was around at the time, and that's what I connected with, but I forget what that toy was. It was like some little figurines. But yeah.
See, I have similar memories of. So I have a similar memory of going to your house. I think when you were having a birthday party or something.
I don't even remember that.
you were playing, what's the Mario game where it's 3D and you like
Oh,
run
yeah.
around a castle?
Yeah, Super Mario
Yeah, that
64.
game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that.
That's what I can remember. But I think we're sort of held back by circumstance, maybe going to different primary schools. Um, uh, and then we re-met in high school. We went to the same high school.
Yeah.
Somewhat different but sometimes overlapping friendship groups.
Yeah, exactly.
But I always thought you were a cool guy.
Thank you. I thought so as well. I was just kind of ultra tired all the time and anxious in high school, so I barely spoke to anyone. But
That's the vibe. That's
yeah,
that's,
just the puberty
that's high
blues.
school.
Puberty blues, you know. And that's how it goes.
Yeah. And sorry, do you,
I was going to say
this
as well.
last bit has been a blur.
Oh yeah, I was going to say as well. I have fond memories of when we were put in the same group for a camping trip. You know, the big like 10-day camping trip out and away. We're in the same group because they split up like our year group, and just the fond and traumatic memories of that camping trip.
Yes, because it was very wet and windy.
Yeah, it was horrible.
It
Oh,
was a
God.
horrible time down in the pit of despair.
Yeah.
In, lower part of Australia. It was so rough.
That was the worst.
Or it felt rough at the time. It probably wasn't actually that bad.
I just remember.
Yeah.
So I've got two things about it. One, I grew as tall as I am now at a very young age. So, and I was like basketball athlete, so I was eating a lot of food, and there wasn't enough food at the camp, even though I snuck in food as well. So I lost something like 6 kilos in 10 days.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and the other thing, I remember one particular memory where we like didn't make it to our destination because we were basically walking like 10 kilometers, orienteering each day. We didn't quite make it there. I can't remember why, but we set up campsite on top of a hill, and then we had a big dinner. Everyone was really tired. Everyone just sort of went to their bivvies, their little, it's like a half tent, and they went to sleep.
Yes, you remember the slang.
Yeah. And and you and me stayed up. We stayed up and cleaned up after everyone else.
Yes.
The-
Yes, I remember.
Yeah.
Because everyone else was so exhausted and was
Yep.
complaining. Because I remember, so the reason why we didn't get to our next campsite was someone had hurt their ankle.
Oh, that was the reason. Okay.
Tripping in a hole or something.
Yep.
And so we had to fashion a stretcher, not for them, but for all their like bags and stuff,
Oh yeah.
so that we could carry those. And for some reason, we're going through like some swampy land, like thicket
Yeah.
brush. That was maybe just swampy because it had been raining so much.
Yeah.
And we ended up on that hill, which seemed like a bad place to set up camp, considering that there was a cold front coming, and we were just exposed to it.
Yeah.
Maybe setting up behind the hill would have been better, but I'm no survivalist.
Yeah.
I don't know these things.
None of
But
us.
yeah, I do
were.
remember cleaning up, and then going back to the giant bivvy that we had to set up
Yeah.
to keep warm, joining everyone's bivvies together.
Yeah.
Yes.
We all slept under the same bivvy. But that was a
So that's a fond memory for you, huh?
Yeah, that was a fun memory because I was frustrated that no one was helping us, but I was also like, Tanner's a really good guy because he's out here, we're doing the hard job that everyone's too tired to do. We're getting it done, and then I think we threw in the towel and went to sleep anyway, but we stuck it out for longer, you know?
Yeah. Long enough to impress each other.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's lovely, man. I remember on that trip, you disclosing to me that
no.
you enjoy Milo with everything. And I just thought, oh yeah, like normal things like ice cream and like maybe you put Milo, I don't know, in your coffee or something like that. And then no, you cleared it up by saying no, like mustard is really good with Milo.
Okay. So that's a combination of several things to defend myself. So it was a combination of my delirium, my hunger delirium, because I was losing kilo by kilo each day. And also, I do love Milo and mustard, but together that's insane. But also, I still do, and I did have this dry sense of humor that because of my anxiety as well, I wouldn't preface the joke with anything, and I would just exaggerate things that I was saying, and it would seem like I'm very serious about it.
Ah,
So I
you
was
see,
I was
I
exaggerating.
have that same problem. Yeah,
Yeah.
gotcha. Okay, I have that same problem where a lot of the things that I say as a joke, I don't decorate them with enough hints. And so people, some people just think I'm an idiot, or yeah, usually they think I'm an idiot, I think. Okay, that's hilarious though, because this whole time I've been thinking, is that something that I should try?
No,
You know,
I've never tried that, to
No.
be honest. I don't remember ever trying that. But I have tried Milo with a lot of weird things, and I have tried mustard with a lot of weird things. That part was true of the story. But I think I was just fantasizing about foods, and I was like, yeah, I'd combine them. At this point, I'm that hungry, I'd combine them.
Nice.
So yeah, that was a bonding experience. But now we've reconnected again as we are entering our 30s.
Yes, well and truly adults now.
Yeah.
Where, and I'm not even sure exactly why. Like exactly why now? I think possibly just life aligned.
Yeah, I think
don't
so.
know.
I think going back to the camping experience, I think we've had a similar sense of humor. And I remember we've followed each other on like Instagram in particular for years and years now. And we always enjoyed each other's jokes and posts on there. Like something I really liked was the series of posts that you did about gloves that you'd find discarded in the wild
Yes.
and on the streets. And I just thought that's just really funny. That's my kind of thing. I like that.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, I had to stop doing the lost glove posts. For additional context, although what Torkel just said is probably more than enough context to explain this joke. But for a long while, I was taking pictures of gloves that I was finding everywhere. I'm really just saying exactly what you said. I'm not adding
You're
anything
defending
to
yourself.
this.
You're defending
I'm
yourself.
defending. Maybe I'm just clarifying that what you're saying isn't a joke.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had to stop doing it because for some reason I was finding a lot, like a lot of them, like a couple of gloves a week.
So strange.
And what's more, people I knew and also people I didn't know very well were sending me pictures of gloves that they had found.
That's so interesting.
And also, to make matters worse and weirder, there's quite a cutthroat lost glove and then a broader lost clothing item community
Wow.
on Instagram that started to sort of find their ways into the comment section of my posts. And I didn't want my like personal Instagram to become this sort of lost glove page. because all these other people were very anonymous, and then I am just myself. And yeah, I don't know. It got kind of a little bit weird. But what was weirder was, I was finding a lot of gloves.
Yeah, that is strange.
Like a lot.
I didn't even know about all the communities going on in your comment section and on Instagram. I remember just enjoying the post, but that added context makes it even more enjoyable.
Yeah, it's bizarre. It's a bizarre word out there. Like, I don't know. It's a weird thing to post about anyway. I didn't expect to find that it was not as unique as I thought it was. And that kind of, I think, scared me a little bit.
What's going on with these gloves?
But, you know, in a similar vein of, you know, things that I found funny that you were posting about, you know, we've talked about this before, but your vegan workout, your vegan nutrition tips that you were doing.
Yeah.
You know, at the top of a sand dune, you know, in full wind, so it's impossible to hear what you're saying.
Yeah. So that's
hilarious.
The thing. Thank you. And that's the thing. It wasn't just nutrition tips. It was also exercise advice, mental health. There was everything in there. And I was just handing that out for free. Unfortunately, it was an extremely windy day. And I was on a run on the beach. And, you know, I like to give some vegan tips for all the vegan athletes out there. And yeah, I was talking into the wind and a lot of it got cut off. A lot of my followers were confused. They were trying to listen in. They weren't sure if they were supposed to hear any of it. And it remains a mystery to this day, whether it was on purpose or not.
So good.
Thank you. Yeah, that's a gold mine.
So funny.
Windy spoken content is a gold mine, I think, and I need to tap into it more.
Yeah, I mean, possibly, you know, even this podcast.
Oh, a windy podcast.
Maybe no one can even hear us now because of all the wind.
Yeah. We need to add that in post. Just a wind sound effect over everything. Just for the added flair. What's something that no one else is doing? How are we going to differentiate ourselves within the podcasting market? Make it unlistenable.
What are they talking about? I don't know, but they look really animated.
Yes.
And I love the wind sound.
They've been going for 10,000 episodes. There must be something to this.
I love it.
But yeah, so that brings us to the modern day when we reconnected. And I think it was because we were both Twitch streaming, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Potentially.
Yeah,
yes.
We reconnected over our Twitch streams. And I remember getting into why we're doing the podcast. I was heading over to your Twitch stream, tuning in, and I saw that you'd written horror movie evangelist and asked me anything about it and things like that. And then from there, we had a few chats about it and we thought, hey, we need to expand this because I'm a movie loving guy. I'm not a horror movie evangelist, but I do love horror movies as well. And I love doing podcasts. So, hey, let's make this into a thing. Let's do it.
Yeah. And honestly, like amongst other friends that I have, it's such a rare thing to find someone who likes horror movies.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like none of my other friends like them, or even can tolerate them. So, yes, I was very excited to have you asking me about horror movies. And yeah, very excited for this podcast.
Oh, heck yeah.
We've got some fun things planned for the future. We've got a whole bunch of episode and segment ideas that we're kicking around. Should we talk a little bit about what those might be?
Yeah, let's get into what the podcast's going to be about. Horror movies, obviously.
Yes. Hopefully.
The main thing, we may branch out into horror shows if we run out of movies, but I dare say there's a lot of horror movies out there.
There really is. It's a bottomless well or reservoir of material,
Yes.
and they just keep bringing them out. So
Heck yeah.
I don't think we'll ever run out.
Yeah. So,
Touch wood.
yeah. So I reckon what the listeners can expect is obviously like discussions about different movies, reviews of particular movies, comparisons between similar films, deep dives into films as well as directors, writers, the different scores and like audio engineers for movies, everything else. And then, just trying to make it fun basically. So, obviously you're going to end up reviewing movies, but we want to make it more than just that. We want to add different dynamics into it to give it a bit of a gimmick and a bit of a fun thing for the audience to listen to.
Yeah. We won't give too much of that away at this stage, I guess. But yeah, there'll be some like recurring kind of segment ideas that we play around with. It feels weird not to talk about it. Like, we might be like pitting different movie monsters against each other.
Yeah.
Like we've all seen Freddy versus Jason, Godzilla versus King Kong. But what about the weirder ones?
Yes.
What about the ones that don't necessarily go together, or are connected by some just minor connection? Can we force something beautiful? Some concoction of creatures, and get a good outcome.
Yeah, I'm super excited for that. There's so many things you can do, Ring versus Shudder. That's like just one off the top of my head, just a random thing. The Thing versus It. Like there's just endless horror movies, like, and monsters. So combining things that would be a good discussion to compare them to see what the actual outcomes would be in theoretical battles. Yeah, I like that idea a lot. And I reckon let's talk about some of our segment ideas because that's shouldn't give away too much. We won't get into the specific ones that we're planning, but some of the segments. One of my favorite ones that we've thought of is I gave them a few names in our Google Doc here, some temporary names. This one's Potty and the Plot. And this one's putting ourselves into the movies to theorize how and what we do that'd be different from obviously how the actors or characters acted within the movie.
Yes, I very much like that. Because we all watch horror movies and go, well, why did they do that? Why did they open why did they feel the need to open the cupboard when they know that there's someone in there?
Yeah. Slowly opening it.
Yeah, just leave. Why wouldn't you just leave?
Or just kick in that cupboard and go in swinging, and just leave or just attack. It's fight or flight. There's not an in-between, okay? Horror movies live in the in-between. That's the problem.
That is the problem. Yeah, flip a coin.
Yeah, come on.
Let that decide your fate.
Yeah. But I like that in particular because, my sort of thing is that I'm a writer and I am actually working on a bit of a horror fiction novel at the moment. So I love the different podcast segments of like revising or rewriting movies and things like that. So,
which brings us to our next one.
Yeah, take it.
How to horror is an idea that we've had. So suggesting changes to non-horror films to make them horror. that one's going to be a lot of fun. We've got a couple of ideas kicking around
Yeah, I love
around
that.
for that. Should be really good.
Yeah.
Do you want to take the next one?
Yeah, I love that. Writing it wrong is another writing one where it's pretty similar to Poddy and the Plot, but instead of putting ourselves in it, we're just rewriting the end of films or like making major changes to the story and the plot, or even like pitching a sequel to a movie. And yeah, just making written changes and pitching different things for the movie to maybe improve it or to, I guess, make it into something that we like more ourselves, maybe, and then pitching it to each other.
Yeah, just set the sequel in space.
Yes.
That's the formula that's worked, all through the 80s when they were when they were trying to revitalize everything.
Zombies in space.
That's right. We got Hellraiser in space. We Jason in space.
Oh my god, I missed these.
There's so many films in space. I think even Leprechaun.
Oh my god.
Don't quote me on
I
this.
think you might actually be right because I remember seeing all the Leprechaun thumbnails and one of them was pretty crazy.
Yeah, I think like a lot of things got an in space episode or film, not episode. Gosh,
I like that a
lot. We've also got horror hot takes, which I think is mostly going to be you having hot takes, unless I can think of any good ones for myself.
Yeah, I like the hot takes. Something controversial, like a controversial opinion about the horror movies themselves. Or maybe it can be movie specific when we're doing a specific topic or a movie on an episode and you're watching the movie and just like hate something and you're like, okay, I've got a hot take about this. Stuff like that. I really like then discussing it.
Yeah. We're going to absolutely just ruin your opinion of us. Just totally throw ourselves under the bus, for like the greater public is gonna hate us for some of these hot takes.
Oh yeah. I'm obviously I'm gonna exaggerate some of mine, but I have a couple where I'm like, yeah, these are gonna divide the community against me. People are going to be like, I'm a fan of Tanner, not of Torkel. He said that one thing about the movies that I love.
The true horror is what we do to ourselves.
Yes, the real horror's within. The horror of man.
So yeah, we've got a whole bunch of segments that we're going to be sort of splicing in to keep things exciting, so it's not just going to be straight down the middle reviews. And yeah, we're going to try put our own spin on this, thread our own personalities into it, so that it's exciting for us as possible. Hopefully it's entertaining for you all as well. In the interest of keeping this episode on the shorter side, maybe we can just talk briefly about our own experience of horror. Why are we at all qualified to talk about this topic? Why aren't we talking about rom-coms, or why aren't we talking about, the latest Marvel movie?
Yeah, exactly.
Why horror?
Yeah. Yeah. And going back to what we want to bring to the audience, something that I really, really enjoyed when I was living in England in particular, I had a friend group and we'd always get around and try to find the most horrific, horrifying, scariest, most frightening movies possible. And we'd turn off all the lights, we'd draw the curtains, and we'd say, okay, we're all sitting down, we're watching this. if we get too scared, we can start cracking jokes, and that's how we'd, calm ourselves down. But I want to recreate some of that energy with this podcast in the way that we're discussing it amongst each other, amongst friends, and enjoying horror with an audience. So that's something I want to bring to it 100%, and something that I really enjoyed. So I'd love to recreate some of that.
Yeah, beautiful. We, like, my friendship group had a similar kind of night, but because none of them like horror, it always had to be like it was a shit movie night. So the shittest film that you could possibly find, you'd bring it. We'd have a spinning wheel, and we'd do a double feature for the night, and build a drinking game around it, and just have a lot of fun with it. So the only films that I watched like that were really terrible, like funny, terrible films in the horror genre. So
Yeah.
it would be nice to sort of find what you had in this as well. With some of the films that I actually do really enjoy watching in earnest. Yes.
Just being able to share our genuine love for like some of these movies, and like the fun topics that we bring to the table with the ones that we don't love as much.
Yes.
But yeah, I gotta say, like, other than that, my only qualification is just being a movie buff. Like, I remember some of my friends would come to me and like ask for movie recommendations and things like that. I was just the movie guy, not particularly horror, just like weird independent films and stuff like that. And also, like I said, I'm a writer, so I love that side of it. Anything that I can analyze from a writing perspective, I find really enjoyable, and I like bringing that to an audience. And then just podcasts and content creation, I love being part of different online communities. So I saw this podcast as a good opportunity to do that as well, and to help to bring your horror movie knowledge to an audience as well, because I think that'll be fun.
Yeah, excellent. So for me, I grew up not really being allowed to watch horror films. And whenever I'd be left at my nan's house for like when my parents were going out somewhere, she loved horror movies. She used to work in a video store, and she would just get in all of these horror movies specifically so that she could watch them. And so, I think when I was maybe 8, maybe 7 or 8, she got out The Exorcist and was like, "Oh, you're gonna love this. It's such a good movie." And I think because she had a Catholic upbringing as well, possession films really terrified her. So that's what we'd watch. Like whenever I'd stay over there, it would be like The Exorcist or The Omen. There were a whole string of like really not great remembered possession films that we watched. And so and then I'd go home and not be allowed to watch anything, and my parents wouldn't know that I'd just watched all these possession movies. And then I was trying to, whenever I'd have a sleepover with friends and we'd go to the video store, I'd always like get out whatever horror movies I needed to sort of fill my list of films that I had wanted to see. Much to their dismay, because like I said earlier, none of my friends like horror movies or can tolerate them. And then, leaving home, being an adult, I lived just down the road from a fantastic video store in Perth called Planet Video. And my wife, Jade, and I were were going there like every couple of days to get out, horror, sci-fi films. I think we went through almost their whole collection of both. Like blew pretty much my entire pay on that for a couple
my
of
God.
years before they closed down. But yeah, I've just been filling those gaps that I have. And yeah, loving it. It's I'm really obsessed with the genre. It's and it's quite a funny genre as well. I think it shares a lot of beats with, or a lot of elements with comedy. I think because jokes are, a good scare is set up like a joke. There's like the setup, the development, and then there's a punchline or the payoff. Yeah, I just find it fascinating.
I like
It's
that.
a really fascinating genre.
Yeah, I like that a lot. And I like you can see horror as the same as a setup for a joke as well in some ways. One of my favorite things to write is comedy. But funnily enough, when it comes to movies, I think comedy movies are some of my least favorite ones. I love finding
Yeah.
the humor in every other genre. So yeah, horror is amazing for that. You're definitely right there. And I think I can relate with in a different way with how you grew up. I definitely get watching The Exorcist from a young age. If I saw that, I would have been terrified. I think the first movie I saw, horror movie, was Hide and Seek. And I saw it at about age 13 or 14. And I was so terrified. I saw it in the cinema. I was hiding my face and everything. I'd never seen a proper horror movie. But in saying that, eventually, I think just after that and a couple more, then I was used to it and then I loved them. But in the same way, from a young age, I used to always go to the cinema with my dad in particular. And I just fell in love with going to the cinema and watching movies. It would always bring back that nostalgia. So I imagine it's similar to you with watching horror movies when you got the chance.
Yeah.
Because you weren't allowed.
Yeah, definitely. It's there's something about, sitting down, putting a movie on and just going along for the ride. I think going to the cinema is my preferred way of consuming films, especially in this day and age where, there's distraction everywhere, but for some reason we still sort of hold the cinema holy. It's a sacred space where you have to turn off your phone. At least in Australia, it's like everyone sticks to that. I don't think I've ever seen anyone in a movie in a cinema pull out their phone midway through.
Yeah.
So there's something about that just sets me in that experience, and lets me experience it to its fullest extent. So I definitely feel that awe of the cinema experience.
I love that. And I just thought of it a segment for an episode. I won't give away the details of the experiences that I thought of, but the segment idea, here's a glimpse. Cinema memories, like funny happenings at cinemas, audience interactions, things like that each of us have. I've got quite a few, especially with horror movies. Some really good ones.
That's something I've thought a lot about, because I've got one that I personally feel is like a piece of cinema history.
Ooh.
Where I was able to watch a film and I think the audience reaction was such that it made the film feel like a big deal.
Nice. Okay,
I really want to talk about this in a future episode.
We're gonna write this episode for sure. This is gonna be a good one.
Yeah,
because I have a few of like people walking out during horror movies and stuff like that, and it was just so funny. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's another thing to expect from the future, guys. Okay, lots of stuff coming up. And also, I gotta
Fantastic.
say, because you mentioned Jade, I got to give a shout out to both of our partners, Jade, your partner, and my partner Emma, because they've been helping us behind the scenes with like ideas and writing for episodes and things like that. So a big shout out to
Yeah.
them.
Yeah, massive shout out. They've been wonderful, ever supportive for many things, and this is no exception.
Yeah. And should we talk then about a bit of our favorite things in horror, our favorite movies and directors and things like that, to get people a taste of the kind of genres and things that we're into, what kind of stuff we like?
Yes, what is our horror identity?
Yeah. What are you
Um,
into?
I guess for me, if I can start, I'm a big Ari Aster fan. So Hereditary, Midsummer. I saw Beau is Afraid recently. Absolutely loved it. I've seen all of his shorts that he made for like film school and whatnot.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Nice.
that's probably my hot take. If I can let it loose early, is that Ari Aster is the Stanley Kubrick of our generation.
Ooh, nice. I like that.
Yeah, that is a hot take I've found.
People are like, what?
People generally don't like you talking like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, Midsummer is like one of my favorite films of all time. The Exorcist, again, has stuck with me pretty much my entire life, since my nan showed me. I love the practical effects in it. And The Thing, John Carpenter's The Thing, it's on the top of a lot of people's lists. But yeah, just that isolationist horror I really enjoy. Yeah.
Nice.
So that's my sort of gamut of like my the colors that make up the palette
Yeah.
of my horror identity.
That paints a pretty good picture of what you're into, I think. Definitely.
So what do you get a kick out of?
So let's dig into it, shall we? I've also got a few slightly controversial things here. So one of my favorite ever movies, okay, and I didn't mention this earlier, but I did study at university animation and 3D modeling. And I also love just doing graphic art edits and stuff like that I post on Instagram and things. So I have this deep appreciation for really artistic movies, which I consider to be The Neon Demon, one of my favorite movies of all time. To me, it doesn't feel super
Which I
horror.
still haven't seen.
I'll make a whole episode about it eventually, because it's
I need to watch it.
so much to talk about with it. So much. Just every scene is like a canvas. Like there's something beautiful in every single scene. And yeah, I just love that. It has a lot of horror elements to it. There's a lot of killing and stuff. And then I'd say some of my other specifically, that's literally one of my favorite movies of all time of any genre. But then some of my other favorite horror movies, I'd say A Mother. That's super good. Just the feeling of anxiety throughout that. Us by Jordan Peele. Also really like Jordan Peele, especially because he has some of those comedic influences in his horror.
Absolutely. Great example of the splice between comedy and horror.
Yeah. And then I put another one on this list, American Psycho. That's another one with a bit of comedy and horror. Yes. I do like the comedy horror.
Definitely.
Yeah. But
that's a very funny movie.
Oh, I loved it. I was like, I've got too many newish movies on here. So I was racking my brain. And I was like, American Psycho, that's like one of my favorite movies. That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
But then I didn't list those directors because you sort of know those movies, Nicholas Winding Refn from Neon Demon and all the other gambits there, Jordan Peele. But my favorite directors, if I had to say, this is the controversial one, M. Night.
I know what you're going to say. Yeah.
M. Night Shyamalan. Okay.
Yeah.
He is what I always say, a perfect combination of sheer genius and like just funny doesn't work, a bit of incompetence.
Yeah. Okay. Before you said that, I was going to say, like, is it fair to say that he's kind of like the Nicolas Cage of directors?
Oh, I like that take a lot. I never thought about that, but yeah, I'd say that's 100%.
I feel kind of gross saying it.
That's perfect. That feels like a perfect match to me. So you just fused those two in my head now. I need to see.
Have they ever done a film together?
That's what I was just going to say.
I don't think they have.
We need to see Nicolas Cage in an M. Night movie. We need to see it.
Oh, gosh.
Yes.
I don't think such a film exists.
I doubt it. They wouldn't dare. They wouldn't dare because it would break apart the movie world.
Too much of a bad and good thing with too much of a bad and good thing. Yeah.
So you can't put a donut and blend it up in a milkshake. You just can't. Both of those things are good on their own. It's too much, you know? But then
there's an argument to be made that happens in your body
true.
upon consuming both.
Yeah, there's a way to digest it. There's a way. Where there's a will, there's a way. And then on a more serious note, I'd say a director such as Robert Eggers is one of my favorites in horror as well.
Yes.
So The Witch is one of my favorites. The Lighthouse was amazing. And then The Northman, I really love. I think it's really underrated. It's still fairly new, so give it time. But I love that one.
I haven't seen The Northman yet. I missed it when it was at the cinema, and I just haven't found like the right night to watch it at home. But I was looking up Robert Eggers earlier today, actually, and those are his three only film. Like those are the only three films that he's done for, like, as a director.
Oh,
I
wow.
was really shocked because The Witch was such a well polished, complete film.
Yeah.
And hit the scene with such critical acclaim. Like, I don't think I've heard a bad word about that film.
Yeah.
And The Lighthouse was weird and wonderful. Nothing else like that.
Would you say The Lighthouse got even more success, I think, than The Witch?
No.
You don't think so?
No.
Ooh.
No, see, I'm a data guy as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, data is my other thing, other than horror. So finding the intersection between them is always an exciting thing. But I'm going to make an assertion without any data right now. And say, no, I think The Witch got more critical acclaim and more eyes on it probably than The Lighthouse.
Wow. Yeah, I'd want to look into that because just those two movies.
I might be wrong.
They're both so incredibly like highly acclaimed. It's kind of insane, like Robert Eggers' success. And then The Northman as well is like, I'd say it's The Witch in the way that they speak and everything. It's very like Shakespearean. But just imagine throwing The Witch into the Viking world and just a tale of revenge. That
does it also have Anya Taylor-Joy?
Yeah.
Did I just mess up her name?
Yeah, no, I think that's her name.
I can fix that in post.
Anya Taylor-Joy. Yeah, she's in it as well. Yep.
I always find it interesting when directors like build these relationships with actors over time, and so they feature in a lot of their movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, a film that we're going to be talking about, I think probably in our next episode. So our first actual episode, 28 Days Later, starring Cillian Murphy back when he was not a big movie actor. So Danny Boyle and Alex Garland were the two creative heads behind that. They also made another film with Cillian Murphy.
Oh, nice.
But it's
Before
escaped my brain. No, after.
before he was Oppenheimer and before he was Peaky Blinders. Peaky Blinders, Cillian Murphy.
Peaky Blinders.
Naughty
Yes.
Murphy. Up to no good. Building bombs now, are we?
Yeah, you know what? This is gonna bother me for the longest.
I'm excited to watch those movies again because I remember loving them. I think I watched 28 Days and 28 Weeks Later when I was like homesick from school one day. And I haven't watched them since. So I'm really excited to reconnect with those.
Yeah, they're great. They're so good. The film was Sunshine.
Sunshine. Okay. I don't think I know that one.
From 2007. Yeah, it's a sci-fi, bit of a cabin fever horror film with a crew in a spaceship going to the sun,
Oh.
almost on a rescue mission because there was a craft that was on their mission but didn't quite make it. So they're the plan B goes out there and chaos ensues. But yeah, I find it interesting how actors will sort of work with the same directors again and again. And, you know, Cillian Murphy is a good example. He was in Inception, which is a Christopher Nolan film. And we've just seen him. Well, I haven't seen him. I haven't seen it yet. But in Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. The more I look into the film industry and you know, the more I plot, I do a lot of like graphing of who's been in what movie and who was involved and what else were they involved in. These interesting patterns start to emerge.
Yeah, it is really cool.
But yeah,
I guess it's like the people that you think are really good at their job, and then also you become friends with them, and it's just like working with your mates in a professional environment.
Yeah.
It can sometimes go horribly wrong, but for the people that keep appearing on those films, I'm sure it's gone very well.
horribly right.
Yes, horribly right.
Yes.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's who we are and what this podcast is going to be about. And I don't know if there's anything more to say other than maybe should we give like a teaser of what maybe one of the first episodes will be? Should we do something like
Yeah,
that?
I think that would be appropriate because we've kind of just talked about it in a brief way.
Yeah.
You know, with 28 days later, 28 weeks later. So it's looking like at this stage our first episode is going to be They Can Run. It's going to be about running zombies. And how that emerged, because traditionally zombies were lumbering, stumbling, dead people who rose from the ground. And then there was a very deliberate shift into fast-paced, athletic zombies, you know, getting turned by bites and dying and then quickly jumping up and running at someone and then biting them. So yeah, we're going to do a bit of a deep dive into the history of running zombies and look at some of our favorite films that feature running zombies. And where things have, you know, people have put their own spin on them, and yeah,
I'm super
talk
excited.
about maybe where we want to see the future go. You know, what are some fun spins that we can put on the genre ourselves?
Yeah, you're bringing this episode to the table, and I'm super excited for it. I got to admit, I've always had this sort of fantasy and I often have dreams about it. I don't think I've said this to you before, but I have these recurring apocalyptic dreams, and I don't call them nightmares, okay? I call them dreams, which is
Mm-hmm.
kind of sick of me to say, but they come across as dreams to me of like the end of the world, wasteland, and oftentimes it's a zombie apocalypse, and oftentimes it's
Mm-hmm.
other things. But I have this fascination with the zombie and apocalyptic genre. So I'm super excited for that. And obviously, there's so much nuance you can get into on the subject. Like, how do they become zombies? Is it like the post mortem
Mm-hmm.
thing? Is it a viral strain? Is that what's making them run faster? It's like so many, yeah, there's so many different medical reasons for zombies running fast.
Is it spiritual? Is
Yeah,
this COVID related?
yeah, it could be anything.
Oh.
They're just fast.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. Similar to your dream, something my dad and I do actually whenever sometimes he'll take me to the football when he's in town, and something we do when we're like getting on and off the train is we'll talk about, oh, what would happen if a zombie outbreak started here right now? Like what
Nice.
would we do? And it never ends up good for us, because dad just had some work done on his leg a couple of
Oh,
years
no.
ago. I think at that point I decided I'd just leave you, Dad. I'm sorry.
It's every man for himself. Sorry. That's the end of that.
I really hope it doesn't happen, because I would just I would straight up leave you.
Yeah.
That's, yeah. But yeah, that'll be our first episode, we think. And yeah, it's really exciting. I've been watching about one movie every night and taking notes and watching all of the special features that you'd get on like the DVD. I found all those on YouTube, so it's really
Nice.
exciting. And yeah, it's something great about preparing for this podcast is it's giving me an even deeper appreciation for everything that goes into making these films. And yeah, it's like consuming something to the extent that I can then make content on it, is like a step beyond just letting it wash over me.
Yeah.
So that's been really exciting.
Yeah, I 100% get that. Interacting, that's what I love about online communities in particular, being able to interact. And my partner Emma always says to me, like, she's big Redditor, like a big fan of Reddit, a big user of Reddit, I'd say. And so I've been on there as well lately, even though I never really used it before. And my whole thing was I wanted to be involved on all the subreddits. So I would like make posts and things like that. And then I'd often forget to read the rules beforehand and have my posts taken down. Not for controversial things, just because I forgot that it has to be specific to something, or, you know. And yeah, Emma's always telling me like just read the post that you like. But I'm like, no, I have to interact with it. I love being a part of it. I want to be a part. And it's the same, like watching movies, horror movies. I want to talk about the horror movies. I want to dig into them. So this is going to be an amazing outlet for all that.
I want to reach to the void and have the void reach to me. It's yeah, I want to shake hands with the void.
I want to see it stare back, and it is my face that is staring back from within the void.
The posts that I want to, the posts that I like to read on my own.
Yeah, exactly. Half the time, that's I'm just creating content for myself. Everything on the internet is just a prompt. All these movies are just prompts. My reaction is the real content.
Have you ever posted on horror then?
I'm not a part of that one. What goes on in r/horror?
What?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm new to Reddit.
You need to get on that.
I'm new to Reddit.
Young man.
I'll get onto it. Is it movies or is it like finding footage of aliens and like spooky stuff in the woods?
No. It's all movies, TV shows,
Okay.
media. Yeah.
Nice.
I think probably even books even find their way on there. But yeah, great subreddit.
Cool.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan
I
of No
found
Sleep.
a lot of cool stuff. Yeah, No Sleep is cool. Yes.
The writing horror.
Yes. You've even written. Has that been posted up there?
Not
at this
yet.
stage,
I'm
or?
waiting on the final edits, but yes, I'm writing. Another reason why I'm qualified to do this horror podcast, perhaps, is that I am currently not just writing a horror fiction novel, I'm also writing a horror series on No Sleep. So yeah.
Yes, and putting a lot more thought into it, probably than 90% of the posts
I
that
think
would
so.
go up on that. Considering you're waiting for another edit to happen.
I've rewritten it so many times. This is going to be the creme de la creme, the magnum opus of No Sleep. And I'm going to plug it on the podcast. I'll be like, everyone go upvote it now. I need to get it to the top.
Please.
Now, go.
Yeah, terrific. I can't wait to read it.
Thank you.
Once it's done editing. Yes.
Give it a few more weeks, then it'll be ready. Let it cook. Let it simmer.
Okay,
Let it simmer.
All right. Okay. I won't rush you.
But
yes.
should we direct them to our Instagram? We made an Instagram. It's instagram.com/ at It Lives on Tape. You can just type in It Lives on Tape to find the tag there. That's the tag for it on Instagram. We'll be posting when we upload episodes and different things like that. Maybe sneak peeks, and we'll see what happens in the future. But yeah.
Yes. The other thing is, yes, we're still figuring this thing out. It's going to change over time, hopefully for the better. Hopefully we iterate it to the point where it is exactly what we want it to be. But there will be sketchy parts of it, for sure. So just bear with us. But we're looking to, I think we just decided we're posting on Spotify, iTunes, and also YouTube. So maybe where you're watching us from currently or listening to us from is one of those.
Yeah.
Or if not, you can listen to us on the other ones as well.
Yeah.
That's
totally
fine.
If anyone uses another platform, let us know and we'll get onto it. Those are the three main ones that we know about. And yeah.
Right. Those are the ones that we use.
Yeah.
So surely there's none others. We're pretty thorough.
Yeah. And maybe even further down the line, because we both like to live stream, we may even end up having this on some live streams, or maybe just even like a special episode on a live stream. That's something I just thought of just then. But
that is a good idea.
Yeah, but like I said, follow us on Instagram at It Lives on Tape. Also, Twitch channels for live streaming where you can talk to us about horror movies and things like that. It's twitch.tv/grumblyghost for more Tanner, and twitch.tv/polyverse for more of myself. And I do some writing on there. So yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed.
Yes. See you around the traps.
It Lives on Tape signing out.
For the first time. Yes.
Adios.
Terrific. Bye.